My student Raffay is now selling 130,000 per year on Amazon in the Australian market only. Now that means that he's making just over 3,000 profit per month and then a total of about 40,000 profit per year. And he's now at the point where he's only working on his Amazon business on the weekends. Hey guys, it's Jack here. I know it's been quite a while since I posted. It's been over a month now. But hey, we're back now. I've got my interview with my student Raff. And this interview, he's gone through details about how he does product research, how he's talking about things like scaling and things like sourcing product manufacturers, all that good stuff. So I think it's going to be very valuable for you, especially if you're a beginner looking to sell on Amazon here in Australia. Raff started with one product and now he's got about 7 products selling on the Aussie market. Before I jump into this video, if you are interested in selling on Amazon, especially here in Australia, click one of the links down below. It is the link to Ecom Excellence, which is a course I created back in 2018. We have just over 900 students now, and these are sellers or beginners who are basically complete beginners getting started selling on Amazon here in Australia, doing it through the FBA business model. So if you do want to learn how to do that, click the link down below. Otherwise, you're free to message me, my socials down below, or comment on this video. I'm more than happy to help. But let's get into the interview. Everyone, I want to introduce you to Raffay. Now, Raffay, first, I'll call you Raff because it's probably easier for me. But I think, well, when you first started selling, I think you first got into well, I'm not sure when you first started learning, but I remember you first became a student back in, it was around 2019, if I'm correct.
Yeah. Yep,
Yeah,
it'll be around 2019.
Cool.
Yep. Or
Cool.
even 2020. I think 2020.
Because I remember I was looking through the Facebook group at your posts, and they date back from like two or more years ago that you asked for help and first getting started on your journey. So it's interesting to see because I mean it's been a long journey, and we'll get into more of what you've achieved.
Yeah, you're right. It was 2019. You're right.
Yeah.
June. Yeah, early 2019.
It's been a while, and time goes fast as well.
Yes.
But look, we'll get straight into the first question because I know that's what a lot of people are going to want to know straight off the bat. So first question is going to be, how much are you currently selling? Whether that's per month, or we can go over, because just recently you cleared a few months ago, you cleared 100K in revenue. Was that your first year in selling?
Yeah, my first full year of selling, because my product went live. My first product went in live end of October, November 2019.
Yes.
So yeah, but that was only one product. Then I added more products in 2021. I had and then because in 2021 I had the whole year to add products and prepare, and had a really good Christmas. 2021 Christmas was awesome because I had a whole year to work on, establish my listings. And that's the time when you really make money on Amazon. And mid-year, there was Prime Day as well. Had a really good Prime Day, prepare for that early. But in 2019 was just more about learning. It took 6 months to just learn. And by October, I had launched my product.
Yeah, because I remember talking to you, this would have been about a year or so prior now. You were talking about how, because you had one product up, you grew that, but I think you've got, is it 2 or 3 products now? Is it more now?
It's 7 products.
Wow, because I remember
they're all at different stages of the process. So I've got two established products with over 100 reviews that are on autopilot now, getting me consistent sales. And there's others that are in middle stage, facing a bit of competition, and keep working on them. And there's others at launch stage. And my aim was always trying to grow the account, like keep adding product and continue to grow.
Yeah.
But if you want to talk about figures, so I've just brought up my figures.
Yeah, sure.
On Amazon.
I think that's the main thing. We'll go into a little bit more detail of that later. But
in terms of like the Christmas, just the month of December was 15K in sales.
And that's just in the Aussie market?
Just Aussie, Australian market.
Yes.
And in November was also about 12 and a half. So those 2 months were really good. And then Jan, obviously it drops to about 10, but aiming at about 10K a month is
That's
what
that's
my
like
last 12
consistent.
months has averaged, or actually a bit more than 10. If I look at my last 12, it's going 130K over the last 12 months.
Wow.
From April to April. Right? We're halfway through April. So.
And that's so you're selling around 10K consistently per month with those products. Yeah.
Yeah.
So out of that, because I remember we're talking through messages, and you were saying that you're still in the stage of reinvesting into those products and just growing the revenue, and then eventually get to the stage where you can take profit. Are you taking any profit out of this right now?
Yes. So look, 12 to 18 months it takes to get to a stage where you can start to take profit. So the two consistent products, because they're going well, I can choose to take profits from there, or I could reinvest and add more products, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Over the last, since December, since Christmas, I haven't added any more products. So I've just let whatever I've got, try to grow those, because middle stage products and those launch products that had launched, continue to grow them. So now I have got nice cash flow built up in my Amazon account, in my bank account, because I haven't, and I purchased a lot of my inventory last year leading up to Christmas. I've only had to top up a little bit more. So if you manage your inventory right, your cash flow right, you can start taking the money sooner.
Yeah,
because come to a stage.
Because a lot of people don't understand that Amazon is a very heavily cash flow based business.
High cash flow business.
You can't. A lot of people expect to. There are these rare occurrences where someone will launch a product and then it will bang. Maybe on the US market or UK, it will explode, and then you can take profit straight away. But usually your method, it also creates a bigger foundation for your business, because you're reinvesting and then you're adding more products, and now you've got 7 products. You're not just reliant on one big selling product to bring the revenue. So,
so look, that's one of the main reasons people need to understand that success isn't instant, right? In Amazon, it's not an overnight success, and but you got to keep trying. If you stop trying, you will fail. So main thing is understand how it works, understand Amazon. I was living, breathing Amazon in 2019 when I was, learning. Know it back to front, how it all works. Understand the algorithm, how do things rank, how do search, how do keywords work. And so really have to live it, breathe it, be on it every day, see what's happening. See what's happening with the bestsellers, what's selling, what's not selling, why is it selling? Yeah.
And also, I forgot to ask this before, because I actually don't know. Are you still currently working your regular job? Are you selling?
Yeah. This is part-time for me. This is part-time for me.
Yeah.
So I literally do it on the weekends. Do it on the weekends or after work. Like the highest time, the most time it takes obviously is your product hunting, when you're hunting the product, and also sourcing the product. It takes the longest time, but and then obviously there's 3 main phases, right? So there's product hunting, where you spend a lot of your time, this product sourcing, and then the product launch. And once it's launched successfully, you can sit back and enjoy. So you and each of that process you have to spend time on. You have to have a process for, understand, and just keep doing the steps that
I agree, because it's funny actually, or it's good that you mentioned that, because that was actually leading to my next question. Was it's probably easier right now for you to start sourcing products, because you have an idea of, or not sourcing, but product research, because you have an idea of what's going to be, a good seller. You've got a better idea now. But how long did it take for you to find your first one or couple of products?
First one took the longest. because but then when I got the hang of it, it was like bang, bang, bang. I could just identify opportunities. But I think I started learning about everything in March 2019. And then April, May, June, I was just 3 months was just learning, watching videos, talking to people who are selling, trying out things. March, April, May, June, maybe July, August, I would have submitted started talking to suppliers. July, August.
At least a few months, because I know for me,
take some.
When because I first launched in the US with my very first product, and it was like it wasn't even a great product. It was like one of these bangle flasks that you put on your wrist, and women would wear them, and it was a flask to hide alcohol. So you could pour alcohol in there and they could wear it as like a fashion thing. So I launched that, but that took me like at least 2 months to find, because I had no idea. And I get a lot of people saying, I've been searching for a product for a few days, a week now, 2 weeks. And, you just have to understand that it takes time, especially when you're a beginner. And once you start finding the products, you start getting, it's almost like an eye for, for what products are going to be more successful and whatnot.
But you have to remember, it's got to be data-driven decisions. So all my decisions was the process of hunting a product is gathering data. And be it search volume, be it sales volume, the more data you have and the longer time frame that you have, then then you can make a decision based on that. If you've only got sales volume for 5 days, you may not be enough, right? And with the Australian market, the time when I was launching, none of the softwares had accurate data. Right. And even it was inflated, highly inflated, so you cannot rely on that. You would make a wrong decision. So I was doing manual product hunting through just add to cart, and you add to cart a product and you try to purchase all of them, like put in 999, tells you how much is in stock, and that's if it's unlocked, so that you can purchase all of them. And then I would track them. I'd had an Excel sheet and track the product.
Track them each day.
Each day, every 4 hours sometimes. So I would know. And if, for example, a product is locked that I want to hunt, I would go. So I basically try to understand how the BSR works and work with the top 50 bestseller ranked products. And you go to the right and the left of it and try to go, if you can track. So the product I'm hunting is BSR 40, but that's locked. I can't track it manually. I try to track the next one and the one before it and see how they're doing. And at one stage I had the Excel sheet of the top 50 BSR products, just knowing how they're all going. Because and I wouldn't even need to, based on the BSR change day to day, I could tell, this has had this many sales, this has had that many sales. I wouldn't even have to check, because I knew how the BSR started working in that particular category. Each category is different. Because it could be a very high selling category, which for a BSR 10, you might need 50 sales, whereas in a low selling category, BSR 10, you might need 20 sales. So, but when you are hunting a product, understand, and ideally the product is in the top 50 or top 100 BSRs, which you can easily access on Amazon, and try to understand that whole category, so you know what's going on.
Because it's where the most eyes are. It's where the most people are clicking and viewing. So I agree. You need to stay in that bestsellers.
And with the product research, if you don't do this part correctly, then the whole project can fail. Right. That's the most important part. So you've got to gather research, look at the bestsellers, and find a product that sells. And find a product that people are looking for. If people are not looking for something, you're not going to be able to sell it. And Amazon isn't a platform where you come up with a new idea, right? You've got to work within a particular search volume. And something that has already got sales.
Well, that's actually that's I haven't got this on my questions here, but that's actually a good point. With your products, you obviously worked off of what was working well already and what was selling well. Have you branded your products and have you tweaked them in any way?
Yep. So
yeah,
a lot of reason, a big reason why people fail is because they copy the product, copycats, or they don't do their research hard enough, or they don't invest in good photos or a good listing, or they don't put in the correct keywords right?
Yeah.
So it's not so in order to avoid failing, these are some of the things you've got to do right.
Yes.
And when my first product, my whole thing is I have to find a way to differentiate, right? I don't copy products. So you have to find a way to differentiate, because if you don't, then the only thing that you're competing on is price and reviews, right?
Of course.
And you don't want to be in that position, because then your competitor reduces price, then you reduce price, then it's just race to the bottom.
It drives the price down. Yeah.
So, and then whoever has a bigger pocket probably wins in the end.
Yes,
Sustain the losses longer. So avoid getting into copying products. Try to differentiate. And like Amazon Australia, it's still relatively new, right? There's still not that many products like there is in the US. Sometimes what I used to do is, in the same niche, in a particular keyword, I look at what's in the Australian market, and that same keyword, I look at what's in the US market, and see, is there any gaps, right? Is there any gaps being fulfilled? Is there a consumer need that can be brought here? And little things because there's sometimes in the US, you find, okay, in Australia, there will be a similar product, but there may not be this as much variety. You get a lot of ideas. So in the same niche, you're not reinventing the wheel, but you're getting some ideas on how to bring in improvements. And that's what I did with my first product. I found the product that I did. There was obviously a similar product out there, but I found another product with a better handle. So people had a better grip, better, feel in their hand. And I also branded it and made a really good packaging. And I put that packaging in my first, in my photos, in the first picture, the main picture. And a lot of people were buying it as a gift as well. It was giftable, because my competitors was just in a plain brown box.
Yes, branding is massive. That's why I always harp on about it. Even just especially on the YouTube channel, because it just differentiates. You can change up the product a little bit, but if you have a brand behind it, it builds such a strong foundation for your products as well. So I agree. And on saying that as well, we'll head a little bit into sourcing your products. So I know for me, I like to teach a lot about Alibaba. So did you ever start using Alibaba? And if you are you still using them?
So Alibaba is your place to go.
For
sourcing. That's my place to go for sourcing. The main thing with Alibaba is you wanna look at your suppliers and see that they are experienced in what you're looking for. So they've been in business for a while, and you can check that on Alibaba when you're looking at suppliers. But the biggest thing is to deal directly with the factory and not a trading company, because the trading company is your middleman and they can add the margin on top. So how to identify a factory, there's a whole process on that. Because with the advantage of directly dealing with the factories, you can get better pricing, and also you get direct contact. So there's no middleman who's re-communicating your information, and information can get lost and things like that. And so that's really, and also you get better relationship. Trading companies usually just want to sell, whatever they can. And then you can't build that relationship ongoing. They can change the prices on you more often. And so basically you got to look at when you go into the supplier on Alibaba, look at their products. When you go, you can look at their products and see what else do they sell. If it looks like, you know, and if it's someone they're selling like iPhone cases and shirts and like 300 different items that, you know, one factory can't make,
they're
that
most,
you know, then it's a trading
not
company.
the actual factory.
Yeah. But if you look at them and it's say, all right, this particular factory makes I don't know, batteries, and all the other products are battery related and that kind of stuff, that makes sense, right? That's what a factory would do.
Yes.
And sometimes you can just directly ask, and yet they may lie, may not, but you know, ask it. And my other process that I use is that I don't get into price negotiations straight away.
Yes.
I don't. I what I do is first you go on Alibaba and look for the supplier. Try to see you've identified the factories first, and then you email them. So, email them with your ideas, like what you're looking for. What if it's particular color, explain to them the product and that kind of stuff. Then you can ask their price. I ask if they can send a sample, which then makes them feel like, okay, this guy's, you know, serious about it. So and the sample, you expect to pay for the sample as well.
It's
usually,
you know,
around
a bit more as well.
It's costs a bit more, but you can ask for that sample cost to be added back when you actually go ahead with the deal, and most suppliers will do that. So you get that money back from the supplier that you end up going ahead with. So you email that through, and then once the replies come in, even at that stage, I'm assessing the supplier. So I try to see, have they answered all the questions that I asked for? You know, first of all, that shows me reliability, that you've read the stuff, they've answered it. I try to see the response time. So is it fast response time? Someone who hasn't got back to me in a reasonable time. I don't think I can see potential delays. I can see. So that's something to keep an eye for. Look at the prices. Is it a reasonable price? You know, over across the board, someone hasn't just all of a sudden quoted you $5-10 more. And look at the relatively good English, because communication is important. Obviously, you know, in China, don't expect them to know full English, but at least if communication breaks down during a manufacturing process, it can be a disaster. So at least they're understanding. So you got to look at that. And then, so they're the main things you look for. Then you get the samples, right? 3 to 4 factories get the samples. I check for the samples. I check for product quality. I check for product quality. I check for, the other thing I do is get your competitor's product from Amazon, get that shipped to yourself as well. So you've got the competition, you've got your products here. And then once you've decided, and throughout this whole process, quality is the most important thing for me. Right. And obviously profitability. So you've got to look at the product, the cost that they've given you, do your maths. If it adds up and it's a great product, then I go into negotiation, right? And then the things that you can negotiate on are your minimum order quantity, right? Minimum order quantity, lead time. You want to make sure, you know, lead time isn't too far out either, because that will just take you longer to get your products, and the longer it takes, your money gets stuck for longer. And cash flow. So you want to try to rotate your cash flow as soon as possible. So the sooner you get in the products, the better. And I also negotiate the inspection. So I get all my products inspected by a third-party inspector who will go in and check all the products. And only after the inspection, I pay the remaining 70%. So the terms that usually we go on are 30% upfront payment and 70% after inspection. And the last thing in terms of payment, how you pay, is the most secure way of paying the supplier is through Alibaba Trade Assurance.
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes
which is
it
actually
can.
on the platform.
Yeah, it's on the platform, through the platform. But it does secure your transactions a little bit if there was any issues. But do make sure that your communication is all through Alibaba in that way, so they have access to it. And your order, when your order is set, make sure the order description matches exactly what you want, because then if there are any issues, that's where Alibaba would go to. And sometimes I've seen suppliers not put as much information in, so you can ask them to add a more detail, add the color, add the size. The more specific that order form is, the better.
Because I completely agree. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people get stuck on this part with negotiation, and for me, the most important thing is obviously how reliable they are, or how reliable they seem, and it's things like response time and if they're willing to work things out. Because I've had I've had quite a few students stuck at this stage, because even myself, there's been some suppliers I've worked with through Alibaba where it's fine if there's something that comes up, if there's an issue that we need to work around, they're okay with it. Then there's been other ones where if we need documents and things like that, they make it quite difficult. So that sort of, you need to, I guess, work that out, I guess, as early as you can.
That's right.
And I think communication is a massive thing for suppliers as well. So yeah, trust for me is a big one with suppliers, and just the way that they communicate is massive. Yeah. And as well, they may ask you to, a lot of suppliers say, hey, do you have a WhatsApp? Can we talk through WhatsApp? I personally don't like that, because it's exactly what you said with the communication side of things. I would personally keep it all through Alibaba, because they have records of it. So if there is something that does happen, you've got the quotes, you've got
especially early days of your startup, keep it all on the platform.
Yes.
It's good. And once you've built trust, maybe get them onto WeChat and stuff. I do, but still, when they create the order on Alibaba, that order description has to have all the details in there.
Yes.
What you communicate.
Yeah. Cool. I think we've definitely covered a lot in that sense. I think the next thing I do want to cover, just written down some questions here. I'm terrible at remembering questions, but I guess I want to pick your brain a little bit about what some of the issues were, or what some of the roadblocks were that you had to overcome, that you sort of didn't really see, I guess, when first starting. If there was anything that was sort of like a main problem that comes to mind, or something that I guess would help others.
Yeah. Yes. Look, I think the main thing is, when you go out there, look for information about Amazon and the processes and the product hunting techniques, that. A lot of it, the information is not Australian relevant, right?
Yeah.
So I had to do a lot of just manual digging, just finding ways on what actually works for Australia.
Yeah.
And that's why. So that was just first getting my head around the learning component. The first struggle was finding out what actually works for Australia, because we are at a different stage than the US. US is so much more competitive, and there's so many more products, and that's one of the things, right? And the second thing was product hunting, right? So when I got to I'll talk about each of the stages, right? So 3 stages: product hunting, sourcing, and listing. So in product hunting, I would go in, I would find a product, but I wouldn't trust, is that right? Is that not? Initially you almost don't trust the data that you're coming across, but you just keep following the process, doing it, and keep getting to the same results. I'm like, no, that keep getting to the same outcome. Okay, that must be right.
Yeah.
But with product hunting, the issue was that the softwares were not accurate for Australia. They just weren't.
Yeah.
And when I would do my manual searches and I would look at the softwares, I would be like, what's going on? What do I do?
Yeah.
It's so different. So then I created a manual process of doing those Excel sheets, and then I found products that were very competitive, right? They were getting 20 sales a day, but yeah, and a lot of times people find products that are selling 20, 25 a day, but for me, it wasn't the right product for me because there was too many sales, right? And it had a good search volume. It had a good sales volume. All the boxes were ticked. It even had it not that many reviews. The competitor didn't have many reviews, but I didn't have the budget to compete with it.
Yes.
Right. You have to understand, how do you actually budget for a product? I can talk about that for a bit. So if a product is making 20 sales a day, right? Now, if you want to compete with it, you need enough inventory to compete with it, right? And a lot of people like, how much should I order? How much should my first inventory be? Now, that is the answer for that is different for each product that you're launching, because it depends on your competition, on your market. If I'm competing against a product that's selling 20 sales a day, and how Amazon ranks products are based on sales velocity, right? So a product that's selling 20 is on top, maybe a product that's selling 15 would be on second, and 10 on third.
Yeah.
So if I don't even have my ordering would be 20 products times, say, 3 months worth of sales.
Yeah.
So 20 sales a day, times it by 3 months, plus my lead time, whatever the lead time is, because I need enough product for the manufacturing. I reorder it, I need to have lead time. And then that would be my first order, for example.
Yeah.
But obviously, if I have to order 20 sales for 3 months, that's a lot more than the first product I went in was only 5 to 7 sales a day.
Yeah.
And it was still the best seller in its niche, right? So only my first order was 5 times 3 months, a lot less. I had to spend $5,000 instead of $15,000.
Yeah.
And what people do is they see 20 sales a day. They're like, okay, you know what? I'm going to order 300. I'm going to launch, and then they might do giveaways or whatever to rank, but then they run out of inventory, right?
Yeah.
You run out. And once you've run out of inventory, you've lost all your hard work to rank your product. So you've done the hard work to rank your product, but then you've ran out of inventory, and you might not even have the cash flow now to reorder. And when you reorder, your inventory comes in, you're right at the bottom again.
Yeah, inventory management is a very important part, because
So,
a lot of people they'll see a product selling right at the highest, and they'll think, yeah, I'll just order in 100 units and
you can't
start
do
off on a low budget. Yeah, you need enough there. You need enough capital. You need enough inventory there to.
Because for that, you actually need to understand how Amazon works, right? How does Amazon work? When you go, people, Amazon is a search engine for products, right? Yes. So people search in a product keyword, Amazon will show the most relevant products. And how does Amazon know when you launch a product? How does Amazon know that you are selling what it is? Because Amazon, it's, all it sees is numbers, right? It's a program. It will see 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1. So Amazon knows that through the keywords that you put in, the title. The title is your main keyword, and that's how Amazon identifies what your product is, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And so your main keywords go there, and the bullet points, you put your other keywords there as well, and that's how Amazon knows what your product is as well. But Amazon still won't show your product at the top, because when you start selling your product, you're on 0 sales, and your competition is all on first page, having, say, 20 sales or 10 sales a day, 5 sales a day. So you're going to be on the last page.
Yes.
So to get, and we know on Amazon, like, I think 80% of the sales happen from the first page. No one has time to go next, and unless it's a but 80% of the sales happen on the first page and the top 3 products. So you want to get that position, right?
Of course.
How do you get that position? There's one way is through advertising, so you can pay for the top position.
Yes.
Yeah. And another way a lot of people do is build sales velocity. People do giveaways of match to get to the
they'll
first
do discounts,
page.
they'll do coupon
Just
codes and giveaways
and things like that. For you do that five sales a day will rank you up. And Amazon will think, wow, okay, when people put in a particular keyword, they find my product and they buy it. I'm gonna rank it higher, right? So, but then the other issue is you might rank it, but if you haven't got a good listing, like, because you fix the algorithm part, you've come to the first page, but the second part is your customer, right?
Of course.
So when you make a listing, you got to make a listing to keep the Amazon algorithm happy, the computer, and you got to make the customer happy so they buy. So you have to know what on the listing is for the customer, what on the listing is for the computer, and do that really well. And the pictures are the main thing, right? Your photos. And I've seen a lot of people not invest enough in photos, and that's your single most important thing to get the customer to click on your product.
Yes,
because that's all they see.
Especially the very first image, the one on the white background. That is the most important, in my opinion, is the most important one. Right. Because if they don't like that first photo, they're not even going to look or click on your listing. And that's it. You might have nice photos of like lifestyle images and whatnot. But if you don't have a nice, clear, good looking first image on the white background, that it's so photos are really important. And obviously the other thing that communicates to our customers is your product rating and reviews as well. That's the two main things that you really got to work on. And when I'm launching a product, my first inventory, I'm not thinking about profit or making money out of first inventory. It's about establishing your position, establishing your ranking, getting the sales, start selling the product, building the reviews, do the basics, right? That's my whole theory. Your first inventory, just don't even think of profit. Just even if you break even, it's a good outcome, because you know what you've gained is you've gained ranking on the first page. Hopefully you're not advertising anymore. You've got, a free spot in the top 3. You've built your reviews, and then you get your next inventory in. That's when you start actually making the money. Easier. Because a lot of people don't understand that if you put in the groundwork first, you build that sales velocity. At the end of the day, when you rank, you get more reviews, you're at the top of the page, you're going to minimize your expenses, advertising, and then eventually you get further on down the road, you might lower the cost of the product as well. Your margin, your profit margin is just going to go up as well. So if you lay the groundwork, it's important. Groundwork in each of the 3 steps of hunting, supplying, and product listing. Each process is really important, and I can talk about my philosophy and theory for each of that product for hours and hours. But like I was telling you before, I'm happy to run webinars. I'm thinking of running a webinar on each of that step and talking through my philosophy on what product hunting is. And it'll be basically me and the Amazon website, and we'll be talking about how to hunt products. When we talk about hunting, what's a good product, and how to do that manual tracking, go through that example. And then when you talk about sourcing, we can go through Alibaba via screen share. We can talk about how what I look for in a supplier. And then in the listing, we can talk about, when we go through listing page, through the whole process, how to create a good listing, what it looks like, things to identify. So we'll be looking, hopefully be running some webinars on those very soon. I think that is going to be very helpful as well. Because you're a seller that's, for the past 2 years, 3 years, you've been in the trenches. You've been doing the manual research, you've been really figuring out how Amazon works. So I think it's one thing to listen to me, because I'm a seller as well. Obviously I don't sell as much as what I used to. I've been teaching people a lot through Ecom Excellence, but I think it's another thing to really listen to someone who is now still selling quite a lot, and it's nice to have a different perspective as well. One last question before we finish this as well. I just wanted to get your opinion, and you can be brutally honest with this, because you first enrolled into Ecom Excellence, which is the FBA course back in 2019. I wanted to get your opinion on how helpful, not just Ecom Excellence, but a course in general. And you can be honest. If a course doesn't help, then
no, I think courses help, because the more information you have, the better it is. But you have to see which market is that actually course targeted for.
Yeah.
A lot of the courses, like I said, are US and UK based and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of courses are actually sometimes not technical enough either. A lot of them are more of how-to guides to create a listing and how to, that's not something I would be teaching in my webinars. That's available on Amazon itself. You can watch free YouTube videos on how to do all that.
Yeah, of course.
But it's you have to learn things through people's experiences, and I think that helped a lot. Existing sellers, and I was talking to them, just picking their brains, and people pick my brains. I get calls and try to answer them.
Yeah, it's a lot more technical.
But it is technical, and you just have to live and breathe Amazon for that time when you start, and understand everything and question everything. And if you don't know, find a mentor and ask them questions. That's probably the best way.
I mean, it's just like anything, right? You need to really basically live it and breathe it if you really want to become successful with it. Your goal doesn't have to be to sell full time on Amazon. It could be maybe a little bit of extra income on the side. You're doing it part time. You're doing it on the weekends now, you said. So it is, even though it's very technical, you have to really live it and breathe it to make something of it as well. So what I'll do as well, we'll end it here because we have been talking for a while. So I'll leave the link down below. You can send me the link, and I'll leave it down below because you want to run some webinars yourself and really teach people. And I think, for whoever is still watching this, I think it's going to be very beneficial for you to go to these webinars, because like I said, it's one thing to learn from me, the YouTube videos, even if you're enrolled in Ecom Excellence. But the more technical side of it, just more in depth into things like product research, into the sourcing side, into ranking. I think Raff will really be able to help with that. So I'll leave the link down below for that.
Yeah. And if anyone has any other questions about where they want to look at their listing reviews, happy to have a look at them.
Perfect. Yeah. Cool. Well, I want to thank you for being on here, and I think a lot of people will benefit from just hearing this interview, hearing your experiences as well. So I definitely think this info is going to help a lot of people, because I like to do these because it helps to fill in the gaps. Because there's a lot that's just not talked about, and there's a lot that you can't really talk about unless you get on and you have a chat with someone. So I do want to thank you, Raff, for coming on for this.
No worries, Jack.
Very beneficial. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Jack. It was good.